Hey everybody, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to the show, welcome to the show. Dun, 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 dun. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, trying to get the right slides up. Apparently, got too many different things happening here. Which one? That. Already. Okay. Whatever. Whatever. There you go. There we go. I already loaded this one and it had nothing, and then I reloaded it, and then there it was. Welcome, everybody. Dan, Darren, Craig, Gary, Jan, Brian, Marty, Jason, Mary, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the show. Dawn. So we've got Q4 earnings. Q2. I don't know why I even wrote that. Let's see. Q2 earnings, not Q4 earnings. Q2 earnings. Q2 2024. And with the back blackout getting going, and 30 minutes of your requests coming in hot. So we'll do 30 minutes of your request. Make sure that you wait till we actually get to that part, and we'll get her going. Pitter patter, let's get at her. So welcome everybody. Now, before I go into anything, we always start out with financial earnings. That's why there's money in the background there. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything at all. No stuff from gurus, no stocks, no options, no bonds, no forex, no futures, no cryptos, no treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. Don't buy stuff from people like me unless you trust me or trust them, as the case may be. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. Yeah. All right. Pitter patter, let's get at her. So welcome to the show. Looks like we're light. Hey, only 40 people. Well, is what it is. And love the ones you're with, as they say. So welcome to the show. All right. Well, let's hit the highlights and then get at it here. So the red list is the one we usually go through. We usually start out with the S&P 500, which is basically closed now for the day. It'll reopen at 6 p.m. when my alarm goes off, as it always does during 30 minutes of awesome. And kind of looking a little toppy maybe. Definitely grinding it higher. Grinding, grinding, grinding. Smaller candles. Look back for prior price action like that, where we just kind of ground it, and then pull back. Grind it, pop. Grind it, pop. We could pop, but we didn't really come off of a big drop, so we may be grinding into a high that may lead to a bigger pullback. I don't know. Grind. Red day, pop, red day. It came right back down. So we may be in for some sideways choppy action, is what the candle pattern might be indicating right here on ES. Candle pattern is not necessarily the best, most reliable as far as green, size and all that stuff goes. So, how do I know? I back tested a godzillion number of candle patterns, like 40 something different Japanese candlestick patterns. I like back tested them for a long time, like hundreds of thousands of trades. The bottom line, it wasn't that reliable. It didn't even, like, maybe 55% of the time you could put it in your favor, but most of the time it just didn't work. It just didn't work. So anyway, in Q, nice little doji thing there. What do they call that? Whatever star, evening star. And we got that gap up in red. It's like an evening star and a red one. Watch out for a flush on S&P 500. Oh, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Russell just chopping in the range. Hasn't popped. It's drifting slightly higher. If you kind of average where all those candle bodies are, slight drift higher, but I mean, you obviously tell that by the Roadmap line tilting higher also, but not looking too sharp to me. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Anyway, I'm going to throw me on the other side here. So CL still grinding down. Probably going to hit the roadmap line. Golly, that's got to be like one of the thinnest roadmap lines I've seen in a long time. Look at that little thread of a roadmap line. Golly, thickness doesn't really matter. It's more indicative of trend, how thick it is. Like back here, we were trending a bunch as we came down and then turned, and it made the little tight squeeze as we flipped. I flipped the two EMAs over each other, and that's kind of what you had here and here. I guess we're flipping it back over to going positive, but it flipped it negative, flipped it positive, and flipped it back negative, and I don't know. Be careful. Be careful. Now, Brent, probably going to tap. Also, this one's much flatter than CL. A lot less emotion, I guess, tied up into Brent. That's European crude right there. Or crude for European delivery. But that is a lower high, so which way is it going to go? Now, I could make the case for this being a 5 up. Right there on Brent. Little less clear on CL. So Brent may dictate which way we go. Not so sure. Gasoline did kind of the same pattern. Broke above. Possibly going to retrace back to the roadmap line right here. And then we'll see what happens. If we can hold and break out. That one came right to the resistance at the 618 and turned down. Beautiful. If that breaks above, right up there at 265, probably going to see a rally up to 293. If not, pushing on higher up into the zone 350 area, 330 to 350. If we break on out, that could be pretty wild. Pretty darn wild. Now, looking at diesel fuel, rejected off the roadmap line right there. Could not get above. Curious. Now, if we hold right here and pop it up through, that'll start flipping this bullish. But right now, diesel fuel signaling a bearish. They call it heating oil, HO, but it's really diesel fuel. So that bounced off the bottom of the roadmap line. That can result in a lower low. It's one to keep an eye on right there. Natural gas also poked through the roadmap line a little bit, but just stopped right there. I mean, we see things like that all the time where we poke down underneath and then we go ripping off. It's a zone. It's not really like a definitive hard line. And I mean, we see it poke through even on the downside. You poke like that. See it poke right there and then go higher. So being on the bottom side does tip it, a word of caution that we poked through, but it doesn't mean it's going to do anything. That's why you need to wait for price action to prove it to you, what it's going to do. Could be just a fake out on the downside, and then we go ripping off higher. Now, the indication that we're going higher at this point, do the high, the low with a fib line. Probably need a move up through this 280 area to indicate we're going up to at least 330, if not cruising on up to possibly 380. So there you go. That's natural gas. If you're chasing after something leveraged like cold or UNG or one of those, you need to be careful. Boil, cold and boil. Be careful. Yeah, Leah, yawning. I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Sensol? Don't recognize your name, but welcome to the stream. We're up to about 70 people, so I'm glad to see everybody. And Kimberly is here, my favorite subscriber. GC, gold. I don't know. That's not my favorite pattern right there. Not my favorite pattern. Sledge is here. Not my favorite pattern right there. I would like to see it back test here and then get ready to go, but I don't know. Not clear is what I would say about that price action right there. That's what I would say. So, silver. Now it signaled we were going to go higher, but then we parked for 2 days. This one more clear. It's probably set to rally to 35. Now, how long that takes, That's a whole different question. And we'll have to set this down to probably 1 to get the statistics here. Yeah, 72% of the time when it fires off, and that was not firing off on at least the daily chart. Let's see, 4-hour chart didn't trigger there either. And unclear on silver. That's what I would have to say. Unclear. It looks likely to break on out, but doesn't really fit with any time frame that I watch. So copper, I would watch out for this one. This one does not look like it's about to break higher. That was a pretty vicious retrace coming up. Holding under this 485 area can result in a bigger down. This whole move up, very, very overlappy and corrective, even though that was a very blow-offy last move. That's the way corrections work, all right? A lot of chop, and then a vicious flush out type of move, and then we go back into the trend, and the trend would be down. Be careful. Be careful. That's why first move down, retrace, and then we can get the bigger, faster flush on copper right there. Lumber, and just this has never been the same after switching over from the old lumber contract, and I don't feel it. I don't feel it at all. Anyway, Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Yeah, I'm gonna burn through all these much quicker than normal. I don't have a lot to blab about. So, and Bitcoin, and just sitting. Spot market just sitting under here. Had a nice little rise up off the lows. We go down time frames. It's got a nice little kind of move up, but we're still stuck at that 1 hour roadmap line right there. You know, it takes a reversal on the 1 minute right there. That's a whole lot of choppy stuff, right? Then it takes the reversal on the 5 minute, which we kind of popped up, and then we went back down, made a higher low, pop up again. So 5 minute looking okay. 15 minute broken above, leads us up to a 30 minute. We've broken above, and now we're at the 1 hour. We're stuck below. We need to build that. Then we got to get back above the 4 hour, and the daily's still hanging out right here. We did get below the daily, so we got to go back above the daily to get it going higher. Now, I kind of speculated long ago that we may see a consolidation out to mid to late July before we really started cooking on the bigger pattern. Could see this rally up in this 89.90 zone, another move right back here, and then a bigger pop potential. It's all out there. Time frame may or may not be accurate. This could just blast right on up here 150 before we got the retrace, and then the next move. So all possible, and this could go fast too. That could be pop and drop really quickly, and then get going. So hard to time is the hardest part about all these predictions. The price levels price levels have become kind of easy, but it's not clear until it's clear. Though is the biggest issue. A lot of people are like, "You're so wishy-washy." It's because 90% of the time the market stays in a wishy-washy state, and then you got to be ready. You got to have, like I was talking about earlier, you know, you got to have that patience to sit and wait for your opportunity, and then you got to have the discipline to take action when it's present and it's set up. It's a killer sometimes, and that's why automation, like the Apollo thing I launched this week or last week, so helpful, so very helpful. Ethereum just kind of sideways choppy, finally made the lower low than what we had back here, and that could be it. That could be it for the correction. So Ethereum and Bitcoin have brought themselves back into alignment. We have spot ETFs on Ethereum potentially coming out in probably next week. I'm willing to bet at this point. Check out the calendar. I think the applications are due, the revised applications due the 12th. Could be the earliest, but I'm willing to bet they punt it. I mean, we could see them by Friday, but we might see it next week. Yeah, PND. P&D, it's the most difficult part of this whole game. The psychology part, Talk about that, the hardest game in the world, It definitely is one of the hardest games in the world. And then Dogecoin, Dogecoin, however you want to say it. Looks like an absolute piece of junk right now. May go a little lower. That could be a bottom right there. I mean, it tagged the target. I just got lucky again. Anyway, tag down there in the target on the flush. Just kind of sitting, not indicating. I mean, we're not even close to the roadmap line like on Bitcoin and Ethereum. My goodness. My goodness, that does not look no bueno. Looks no bueno. And look at these over here. So stocks above the 50-day for Nasdaq, we're still hanging pretty high. Stocks above the 50-day on S&P, kind of in the middle. Stocks above the 50-day on Russell, much lower. So it's indicating there's some problems brewing. Got some problems brewing in the markets. Now, we kind of did just bounce right off of that on the Russell back here in April. And we didn't touch the top. But was that a low enough, or are we going to have to flush even lower? Since we definitely came out the top. It's kind of like we did over here. Bounced out the bottom, came up, missed the top, and then went lower right there in October. Here, then we bounced up to the top in January, but then we've come back down to the bottom, came up lower, and it looks like we might flush this baby on down, making a lower low on Russell. That's definitely concerning right there. Definitely concerning. And now we're getting to that point where we can do requests. So the way requests work, you give me a ticker, all caps, please. And if you have a question about it, please be clear. If I miss your question, I'm sorry. If I miss your ticker, I'm sorry. One ticker per person per request. Wait for somebody else to go. And if you spam me a lot, I'm going to ignore you. All right. And if you're requesting a crypto, I need the full crypto pair in whatever it is. If you want it like ETH BTC, like ETH BTC, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, you got to tell me that. All right. And we can chart it. So anything's fair game, cryptos, stocks, futures, I mean, Forex, anything's fair game if you want to see it. And if you just tell me stuff like, I see uranium stocks, you got to tell me which one. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just go through all of them. Now, I may, if there's something interesting to talk about, I may go into them, but there you go. So I'll go until I get tired or, feel like being done, or we drop below like 70 people on the stream. So it looks like we have a pretty good crew now. And remember, if I say anything you like, beneficial, you appreciate me reviewing your ticker, or you just want to super thanks me at the end, that's all available there. So there you go. That's it. All right. Docu bounced off of, didn't do the bounce. Just can't get out of its own way here. Watch out for the bounce off of the roadmap line right there. That can lead to an extension lower. And how low? We have this zone right down in here. That may be the downside target right here between 43 and 46 on Docu. Alrighty. And then Opera limit. Is this the web browser? I think. Opera. God, it's just sideways chop. There's nothing there. There's no pattern. There's no nothing. It's just sitting on the roadmap line. Last time it didn't break out. Chop it again. That's just sideways choppy. Not too good is what I'd say right there. There's your range. Probably not go anywhere until it breaks out of the range, either to the upside or the downside. Amazon. Nice. Almost to the 213 target. And that big oval that's been sitting up here for like 2 years. Up here at 240, 250 area. May very well get there. May just go directly and then not ever get this correction that would have been healthy. Instead, we're gonna go rip it off, and then we're gonna do an epic down, and it's gonna suck. Kava group sitting at the resistance. Roadmap line down here. Till it pulls back, there's not much to talk about. METE. What a nasty chart. I don't know which one you meant to look at, but maybe you meant Meta. In which case is right at the target. Be careful. 550, 567. And Uber is sitting right below this resistance. The target down here. Be careful. If it can break through the resistance, 87.95 on the upside, but don't look good for the home team. ENSUSD. Let's go with Coinbase. Yeah, just use Coinbase data. And it's not really been doing anything for a long time. It's working on trying to break out, but which one's the low? The low? Possibly a 5-wave up, possibly a retrace, possibly set it up for 120. Maybe. It's got the measured bounce. And next break above the highs here, which it's not far away. Next break above could take us to 120, which about 4x from where we are right now. Not bad on the upside. Somewhere in there is where I would expect. Now it can go higher. Certainly can go higher, but that would be the most I would really expect right now on ENS. All right, and SE. If you're brand new to me and you trade the systems like the brand new Apollo, I'm probably not going to dive down into the 30-minute charts and look at anything. Just so you know, I usually stay on a high time frame daily chart, just looking at the big picture. Just in case anybody's brand new, not been to one of these before, that's kind of how this works. So I got a lot of people requesting a lot of tickers, and I don't have time to jump all the way down to the 1-minute chart. And SE potentially coming up into that resistance zone there where we gap filled kind of right there. And that can result in a third move down, potentially, where this is the first move down. And then right there will be the next move down, and could bring it all together over here ultimately. Now, if we just go ripping off right now, 77, 78, maybe 82 upside resistance, where we topped out back here, that would be what I expect on at C Limited. Alrighty, yeah, Meta, Tesla, already did. Let's see, Tesla sitting at that resistance. Man, I debated closing my 5 shares today. They're up 45%. I was like, should I close them? And I was like, nah. It'd be too much fun if this goes to like 500. It'd be way too much fun. That's the target 500's been the target I've said we were going to for a long freaking time. So, and Rongamer is going to be super happy when he gets back from Philmont if we stay up here. Holy moly. He's probably going to book some profit. He was up a significant amount of money when he went offline on the 3rd of July. I mean, yeah. He was up a ridiculous amount. Now we're even more. So he was like, holy beep. Anyway, that's resistance. If we get through it, the next one up's right up here at 300. This is really, really, really scary, though, in front of earnings. Tesla typically 70% of the time drops on earnings. So we'll go through that as we get closer right there because, well, it looks like we'll be doing a 30 minutes of awesome when this reports right there on the 23rd. So next week I can go through, potentially go through it, although I may just do it on a morning show. We got 2 weeks essentially right there after the close on the 23rd. So same bad time, same bad channel, 2 weeks from now, set your alarm. We'll watch that thing together and highly likely to get a retrace just based on how high that is. All right. Light. Does it have to? Shoot, no. Am I still long 5 shares? Absolutely. Why not more? Hey, I gotta control my urges, right? I can't have all the exposure in one place. I don't have tons of money. So light, potentially breaking out. Gonna cruise. Yeah, 78, possibly 109 on that setup right there. That's a measured bounce, although not the perfect. It is a measured bounce. Can lead easily to 78, 90, and 109 on the upside for light. And SCDG, Solar Edge, is basically turning into a dumpster fire. We just need a reverse split, and then it's a dumpster fire. I mean, that's basically what we got. This is gone. Goose, aren't you glad you didn't hold this? Old Mother Goose. Whew. I mean, he wrote it down at here and then bailed, and then, whew, man, that would have really sucked. That would have really sucked. Tell you what. How low can she go? 0. She can go to 0. They can all go to 0. And dun 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 dun. CRS right here. So that looks like, jump on here, grab that, grab that. We hit resistance, watch for a third move down. This being the first move, the retrace being the second move, and the third move. Can happen like that, right to the roadmap line vicinity, or right down in here. Right in there. That's kind of what it looks like to me. I would be very, very careful on that one right there. It's been back here since February, since we bounced. Nice big move up. Yeah, I mean, look, move up, retrace, move up, retrace, move up, retrace. This one likes to retrace and revisit after moving up. Moved up, revisit. Yeah, this is a very, I mean, just back over here is one of the only times where we didn't just retrace, but then we double topped it up and then came back. So be careful chasing that one higher at the moment. And is it guaranteed to move back down? No, nothing's ever guaranteed. GLW, man, look at that one freaking go. Holy guacamole. 48, 51, 61 would be the most I would expect without a nice big fat retrace. And NVDA came up into the resistance today and stopped right on the 618. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. That's a magic place. It can develop into something bigger. At the minimum, it can do that. Right down to 112. This one could take a 50-60% haircut really quickly. You may be like, nah, not NVIDIA. Yeah, check this out in the past. Look at that. Look at that. After a big long run. Look at those. That's some vicious price action in the past. You can be like, well, when I should have bought it at 10 cents. Yeah, it was never 10 cents. It's all these stock splits that happen along the way right here. We've done tons and tons of stock splits. And this has I think it has the most shares available in the world. At least of anything like the top 100. So be careful out there. There are 24.6 billion shares available right there. $1 move means $24.6 billion flows into or out of NVIDIA. I've harped on this a lot lately. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. All right. Those closely held shares aren't moving. Those aren't the liquid ones. But these free float ones are the liquid ones right there. But even when the value of the free float, if you be like, well, it only moves up 14 billion. No, the value is all the shares. All right. So even though that's only the free float is 60%, all the shares have the value. So it's $24.6 billion worth of value every dollar this thing goes up. That's why we have a $3.23 trillion market cap. And the crazy thing for the day was that Apple closed at some ridiculous number that made it $3.5 trillion. First company to ever close above $3.5 trillion right there. Holy fudge muffins, baby. I mean, that is crazy. That's crazy. It went from, I mean, just a couple weeks ago, these three were banging around right at 3 trillion. We've now had another $1 trillion flow into these two right here, plus a little icing on the cake with the extra 2 trillion right there. I mean, some redonkadonk numbers right here. And for these to double again, that means Apple would go to $7 trillion if it were to double from where it is right now. You'd be like, no, that's not how that works. Yes, it absolutely is how that works. So for Apple to go from 228 to 456, it would take $3.5 trillion more dollars. It'd be a $7 trillion company right there. Holy fudge, right? Like law of big numbers. So it's going to have to suck in a whole nother Apple, a whole nother Microsoft, a whole nother Nvidia just to push it to double the price. All right. The opportunity is not that great to the upside compared to things that are way on further down this list. Like, could it just go crazy? It could. Absolutely could. All right. Crazy keeps being crazier. Like, the market can remain irrational longer than you have money to stay solvent. I mean, that's been a long-term thing in the market. But be careful playing around with these, all right? I mean, even just coming down to Meta, though, you have the ability to double that or even triple it. Tripling it would get close to, I guess it would actually exceed Apple. But Meta can double and not cross the threshold that's up here. Think about that. So just getting down to number 9, number 11. Ooh, that one's getting close to $1 trillion right there. Berkshire Hathaway, even Tesla right here. Tesla could 4x the price and not be bigger than Apple right now. Think about that. You can have a 400% gain in Tesla. You may be like, well, Tesla's so big it can't move. Tesla could have a 400% gain and still be just right up here with these guys. Think about that. That's crazy, right? So Apple could buy, using the market cap of Apple, it could buy Tesla 4 times over. It's pretty wild. Pretty wild to me to think about that. But you know what that means? It means these companies right here, all these $1 and $2 trillion, $2 and $3 trillion companies can take a 50% haircut really quickly. That's what scares me. That's what really scares me. All right, the participation rate is so low. So incredibly low. Be careful on NVIDIA. That's all I have to say. CAH. That looks pretty bad. Probably going to go lower. We're below support. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's not too awesome. Not too. Look at that. We bounced right off resistance and down. That could be working on it. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. If this completes another move lower, right there, it's really close. But if it gets another move lower, and then we retrace. Let's just guess right about there. Remove this one from back here. Delete this. There. If we come back up from here, back up here, and then turn down again, that can be a big flush out in healthcare. Maybe like it seems like it'd be bullish right now. No, we could see this thing flush down into this zone right down here. Be careful. That's a bearish type setup right there. And jeez, cheese and crackers. Mora, man, it was flirting with the roadmap line all day today. Just kind of sitting there, sitting above. Like, that's support right now. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. This is the magic level up here. If we can break above 25, game on. Game on for 38, possibly 43, possibly 58, or even crazier numbers up there. Got to see that pop, though. As long as we hang out right here, just keep consolidating. The longer we consolidate, the less awesome I like it, but it is kind of like a spring. Wine in the spring, wine in the spring, wine in the spring. The less this thing moves, the bigger the move is going to be. Let's just hope it's not to the downside, because it's got a beautiful set up to go higher with a nested potential right there with higher lows. That could lead to a much higher pop right there on tomorrow. But hey, can do anything it wants to do. RTX probably got to come down to the roadmap line right there. And it could bounce from here and go higher. That bounce could take it up to 110, 111, 114 at this point. Probably not going to go much higher than 120, where I predicted, gosh, like 2 years ago. But still got a little ways to go up there. I would expect a bounce off the roadmap line before we can get a bigger move. And that, if you get a little deeper correction here, we can go a little higher on those projections. Get closer to that 120 area right there. Alrighty, next up. Oh man, I just skipped the chat. That was cool. CLF. Cleveland Cliffs is still in a downtrend. Still making lower highs and marginal higher lows, but that don't look too good. Probably in a downtrend. I wouldn't mess with it. It's not trending for years now. I mean, look. Look where we are right here. Look at that. You can say, well, it was, well, anything. Like, it's been nowhere for 3 years. 3 years gone nowhere. What opportunity is that? Unless you're just unless you're just trading short-term opportunities, don't mess around with that. Like Home Depot, I bought some stuff there today, but it's another one that just died. Like, it just came down the roadmap line and just sitting there. No indication of doing anything. Nothing at all right there. Boring. ARKK, another somewhat boring stock right there with lower highs. Not too good right here. Gonna have to get above that to indicate we're going any higher at all. And it's just, we stalled out at a perfect place to make a lower low right there. 1, 2, 3. Man, not looking awesome. Not looking awesome. It's a reoccurring theme. I don't know where y'all get all these horrible ones, but TSM has that upward target around 200. Talked about that this morning. Looks like it attempted and then got some red candle action there. May do another retrace before we can go higher again on TSM. And Z for Zillow. Or ZG. Look at that. Potential to break higher. Beautiful. So we did this right here. Did this right here. This thing can pop much bigger if we get the continuation, probably somewhere up here around 89. I do have a long call position on Zillow when we did this. Broke through the roadmap line right here. This may be your last chance. If we break above those highs, that's like the last chance to really get a good entry, because it can go rocking and rolling pretty quickly. Now, if you buy here, you have to buy on faith. And if we break down below, like 43, 42, I guess 42.50, it's going to be all over but the crying, because we may go down to 29 down there on Zillow. And the other ticker for that is ZG, I think. Yeah, very, very similar price pattern there. And I think I did docs already. Snap. SNAP. And is anybody here that uses Snapchat beside? I know Rungamer's on the trail with my boys. Is there anybody else here that uses Snapchat? I know Kimberly told me, well, our daughter does. So. That's lower highs, excuse me, lower highs. And it's kind of in a trend. Watch out for another one of these flushes. Could it break out? Yeah, it's got this gap fill resistance here. People that were bag holders got stuck in the gap, and if they get the gap fill, they're probably gonna be selling, so that'll be resistance. So 22 on the upside and potential to return to 10 on the downside. So that's marginal at best. Apple has reached the extension up here at 225. Could we go cruising on up to 250? Well, we possibly could. It's going to be a little crazy, so be careful. It's adding another what? Come on, click. Another 11% market cap to it. So, geez, man, that's just crazy. So we're talking another $350 billion. So that'll be like a $3.8 trillion company. Time it gets here. Where's all that trillions of dollars come from? I don't know. I don't know. That's like another $350 billion to go up to there. It's, hey, I mean, like I said, the market can keep being irrational. We can keep cruising higher. Yes, S&P 500 can hit 6,000, even if it doesn't make any sense. But we're sucking all the life out of all the other stocks in the stock market to do this. I mean, that's evidenced by the S5FI. S5FI right here. You know, as this churns down near the bottom and we keep making record highs, it's not a good situation. Eventually, we're gonna have this big rebalancing of capital. I mean, this is like the exact same setup we had going into the 1929, 1930s, where we had the big Great Depression. We had a very extreme concentration of money into a very few number of stocks, and then then the wheels came off. So, I had a conversation with one of the people I have that helps me do what I do today. He called me. He lives here in town and lives out in the more well-off part of town, not the part of town I live in. And he was just talking to me about this, that, and the other, that, some business we have. And he stopped me, he goes, man, congratulations on what you're doing. And, it's just amazing you're able to do that kind of business. He's like, when I go around town though, like, where is everybody? He's like, all of a sudden it's like during COVID, like there's nobody at restaurants. There's no lines for anything. He's like, nobody's out doing anything. And I was like, yeah, I know, it's scary. I went to my favorite restaurant this past weekend, and I was sitting there. We look around, and this is a Saturday night, peak prime time to eat dinner. We looked around, and like half the tables were empty. I looked at Kimberly, and I was like, when's the last time we've ever been to this restaurant during the summer, and there not been like a half-hour wait for a table? And she was like, I don't think it's ever been that way since it's opened, especially during the summer. And it's that way in the winter too sometimes. I mean, that was freaky. Like, I don't think I'd ever seen that few people there. And it has me concerned about what's about to happen. So be careful. Like, there's the writing's on the wall. And what's the event that it takes for this to happen? Does Biden get removed from office and that cause a black swan? Does Biden remove himself from office? Does Biden croak? I mean, what kind of black swan thing might happen? Is it anything to do with Biden? Is it something else? I don't know. Something's coming. It's like the door falling off a Boeing there, Sledge. I mean, something's about to happen. I don't know what it is. I can speculate all day. Something's about to happen. Solana doesn't come up. That ticker didn't work, George. Meta already did. Nike. You probably meant Sol USD. Nike almost to the target, right there on the downside. Consumer products looking really bad, like Helen Detroit right here. I mean, look how bad that was. Ouch, man. I mean, consumer products just really bad. So Sol USD is probably what you meant, and that's just parked on the roadmap line. That's pretty bullish. Very similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin, and that's probably going to go ripping, as opposed to some other ones that don't look so bullish. Oxy might be kind of bearish here. That's not looking good. That was not a higher high. Actually, more bearish than oil itself looks. That could just be part of a bigger correction. We need a flush out down below 54 to really clean this up. It doesn't look too good. I mean, that was a 3-wave move up, a hard rejection. Now it's overlapped that high. Yeah, it looks best with a move back below this consolidation here. That's what it needs to clean this up and get ready for a bullish move. If it doesn't do that, it's just going to chop and keep chopping sideways in this range between 55 and 65 or 70. Just more sideways chop if we don't just flush it out and go. All right, snow. Dun, 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 dun. Looks like we could go on down to the target. I'm still holding that target. I've been holding that target since before we made this high, right up here. I expect it to make a lower low, then right here. The same kind of corrective crap that we saw on Oxy. It just, this one's been going even longer than Oxy has. So that's snow for you. BNB USD. And it's sitting right here under the roadmap line. So we need to see this break back up through 611 to get that 770, possibly 823. And that jives with the bigger pattern potential that we could see this extend out to possibly 1,000, possibly 1,500 on the way on up there. Did poke higher high and then retraced. That's typical. We could see a little deeper retrace too. It may come on down back to the 300, 400 area right here before we can get the bounce. But that's all pretty healthy looking to the upside right now on Binance. Probably going to go when Bitcoin and Ethereum go. And I am pretty sure they're going to go. So AMD. I'm not going to comment on any trades that you're in. I do not give trading advice, just so you know. Right here. If you desire personal financial advice on any trade, you need to hire and consult a financial advisor. It's not what I do. So AMD is at resistance. The resistance goes on up to 192. That so far is a three-wave move, which gives me extreme uneasiness. I am out of all my longs on NVIDIA. I mean, on AMD, excuse me. Confusing my chip companies here. Now, the third move up, if this does kind of a echo pattern off the low, the first move up and the second move up are the same. That puts it right at the 618 right there. Right there. Watch for that. If we get that little pop, and then this starts down, probably coming down here into the zone that I've been talking about since back here in, gosh, I don't know, since we topped, whenever it was. I've been talking about that zone probably since February, maybe even January back here. We did get a little higher high, but it just firmed up that I expect us to come back down to this 95 to 115 area right in there at some point. That would look very healthy because this basically completed a move up and it needs that retrace so it can go higher from here. You may be like, well, you know, compared to NVIDIA, how high could it possibly go? And we go look over here and the market cap's only 286 billion compared to NVIDIA's 10 times that. So this could 10x itself on the heading up toward the price of NVIDIA, you know, the market cap of NVIDIA. And we never even, I mean, so where's the bigger opportunity? AMD has bigger opportunity for upside than NVIDIA right now because NVIDIA is going to have to soak up like a whole apple to go to double itself from here. Whereas AMD can soak up 10 times itself just to get to the size of NVIDIA. But needs that retrace first. All right, moving on. BTBT. Man, this one looks so good to break out. Like it already triggered, basically. Already set up the trigger. We just need it to continue. We need the continuation. We have the trend. We have the pullback. We've triggered the continuation. $6, $7, possibly $10 on the upside right now. And if things got really crazy, we could see something up here. Possibly even a breakout higher. Let's not get too hopeful though. $6, $7, $10. That would be more than nice, more than generous for this stock. And we may run into some bag holders as we get up into this $10 to $13 area right there, possibly even up into the $19 area if it got that high. So that's BTBT for you. Looks pretty good. I am long BTBT with about 100 calls. Well, way more than that, like 300 calls. And INOD. Not too bad, not too bad. Could use a retrace right at the 1750 target there. 19, possibly 28 above that. And could result in some pullback. Avalanche. Avalanche is looking like we could go deeper on pullback. That would be a measured bounce. This did complete a bullish series of price action, and that would set it up to go even higher by retracing to that point. Does it look good? Absolutely not. Does it make you nervous? Absolutely. Is that what corrections are designed to do? Absolutely. Flush out the weak hands. So 1950 support right down there. 1850. 1850. Yeah. And if we do that, sets up the potential stage for something like this. That. And we could see this thing exceed right up in here to the 300 zone. So that would be like a 10 plus Xer right there. 10 plus X potential. So I may add some because that looks pretty freaking sweet. And so somewhere up there around 320. Yeah, 16X right there. Potential on Avalanche. FU to you. Just kind of grinding. Grinding. Popped up, hit that. Got this giant pullback right there, and then it's just done nothing. You'd be like, well, it's done something, but it's just grinding. And we're coming up to that 618 where we gap down right there. If you don't see it, we gap down right there. That gap down is typically where some bag holders are sitting, where they're ready to liquidate right in there, which just happens to be the same as the 618 area right here. So watch out. I think the bag holders already at it there on that pullback. So if this stops here, breaks down below this uptrend of lows we've kind of had going here, this can do a third move down very, very easily, where this is the first move down, and we copy that right off of here. That could take it down to like $8. Be careful. That would suck, right? Absolutely. Be careful. All right, Rose USD has really mucked up its pattern lately. Not a fan of this continued correction. That looks pretty good. This makes it look really bad. And it might very well go lower. Just clean this up and we can discuss it really quickly. That was the high, that was the low, that was the high. And we may come down to 5 cents right there. Maybe where it's headed right now. Now, could it find support above that? It could, but it's not super great. Not super great at the moment. And drawing that. Now, it could hold this 7 cent area and then turn bullish, because it could be a 1-2, 1-2. But I wouldn't hold my breath on it. Wouldn't hold my breath. DPZ. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Might it go down to the target? We'll see. I'm going to redraw my target on here. That's kind of where I expect it to go. Down there around 200. We'll see. The cracks are starting to form. We get below the roadmap line. That thing can flush. This is a bearish move down. Bearish correction, even though it seemed like that was that one move up, retrace, and then it got a little overexcited, still made a lower high. Watch for the flush. Watch for the flush on Domino's Pizza. And remember what I'm saying about restaurants being empty. It might get really bad. The signs are... That was a reality check for me on this past weekend. I was like... I've been talking about it all week, but all week is Tuesday, so it really hit home with me though, because I was just sitting there. I looked around. I was like, "Where is everybody?" And it wasn't like the service was banger either. I mean, it wasn't like they were treating us like we were the best customers because we were there. I mean, they treated us good, but it wasn't like I don't know. I mean, I can make the case for staying home. That's for sure. 338 on the upside potential. Got to get above that gap fill zone there. Back about 275. But if we turn down here, we may very well cruise on down to back in this 130 area right down here for CRM. Salesforce could be a lower low. Be careful. XOM. Yeah, nothing really changes week to week on these. So XOM, lower high. Got to break above that 118. If we don't, I think that was on the market roadmap list for the week, but let's go check it. July. Do I have a lot of market roadmap lists? Yes. Let's see, was that on the list this week? Yes, it was. In fact, on the list this week. Thought so. Thought so. All right, back to it. If it can bounce, it's got to break above here. 118 to go up to 126, 128. I've got alerts there because I'll probably trade it. But if it breaks below the low, watch out. This can flush down deeper. And that's kind of the way the whole thing works. And so row's probably not going to recover before it flushes deeper first. And HRTS. What the fudge is that? TEMA GLP-1 obesity ETF, huh? Cardiometabolic. Yeah. Doesn't look like they're doing very good echoing Lilly and NVO. I mean, that chart right there did not look like that or like that. Does not look like either one. So they're not doing very good copying those charts. I mean, I don't know. Sideways, choppy is what that looks like. NOW. Looks like we're going back down for the roadmap line. Right there. It could be setting up a head and shoulders type of situation. Watch for that. Shoulder. Maybe even a little deeper. Nope. Click twice. Awesome. That could result in a pop. Oh, if you don't know this pattern, it's a reversal pattern. It can lead to a pop, 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 pop up there. And let's see, when is AVGO split? Next Monday. Can you tell me how I can get the roadmap inductor, please? Jason, click right down here. The more button underneath the thing for $5. Easy button right there. Or $5 is too much. I know it is for some people. I've been there, been a small trader. $5, every $5 was like, ah. So if you're a DIYer, you can go grab that from a video I have in my back catalog. Just go back to the homepage on my channel and you can get the code for free. You got to DIY it. But if you want to just click a button and put it on your chart, it's $5. And you get a watch list for a few weeks. So right there, SPGI. S&P Global, nice pop. Next upside, potentially right up here, 285. I mean, 485, not 285, 485. I see on the 2. If we're going to get the extension. If indeed you do. Alrighty. I already addressed Tesla. Might run, may not run. Thank you, Marty, for the $5. Thank you. And gold. I'm long Tesla. I'm not selling my Tesla. So gold is going to be Barrick, not gold, the metal. And potential to bounce and break out of here. But again, let's see. Let's just remove a couple of these. Now, the bigger pattern, bigger picture, if we can break out up here again, can definitely lead to higher prices. But right now, it's looking a little choppy, a little inconclusive here. That was a 3-way of potential up. That was a 3-way of potential down. I mean, maybe that was a 5-wave. It's a stretch. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a blow off 5th. 1, 2, 3. Didn't really overlap the 4, which kind of makes it. There's the market open. Futures market back open. And that low, that high. 50%, so that could could. Is it clear? No. Is NEM clearer? Yes. Do I have some exposure to gold? Yes. Barrick mining. Could lead us to 23, 26 on the upside. I was looking for 26 a long time ago. It might do it. That chop made it unclear. And NEM, the reversal looks a lot better on NEM. This flush out, a lot more clean. This move up, and you'd be like, well, I thought they were like hurting. They liquidated a bunch of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And typically a chart will turn 6 months ahead of the news starting to improve. And we see that like on BA too. So the chart turning here, but the news it seems like it keeps getting worse and they can't catch a break. It'll keep going probably for 6 months or so. April, May, June, it could be September, October before we start seeing better news coming out of Boeing. But the chart could already be well on the way. So keep it in mind right there. VRT. Probably going to retrace on down to the roadmap line. And then AVGO I hit on a second ago, but I guarantee you this will be trading in the next week. This will be trading below $200. If you want to bet with me, I will bet with you that AVGO will be trading below $200 a share by next week. Even I'm going to take the bet. All right. TTD. Be careful playing with NVIDIA. I'm just saying. And TTD can definitely go higher. It's set to go to 130, possibly 148, possibly 212. If it goes absolutely nutso crazy on the upside. Right there. But it's set the stage to rally on up to this 130 area right there on TTD. And see a Jim. I assume you already are gone. Ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. Look at that resistance right there. We gap down. We got to beat the gap. Got to get back above 78 to go cruising higher. 92, 94, and 99. I don't know. That was a really deep move. If we reject at that gap fill, we can easily go back on down, make a lower low back around 64 right there on BABA. And METZ is not a ticker. Oh, I think that was part of your name. Sectors up. GE. I'm way behind on the chat, so resistance right there at that prior high from way back over here. Met resistance, probably retrace. That's what I would expect on GE. QQQ already went over with NQ. It's just add extensions. Go a little higher, 500, 509. And in NIO, like a dumpster fire in the making. Target right down here around $2. Been there for a while. And VIX. What do you want to know on VIX? VIX is not chartable. It's an index that just returns to 12. It'll spike and then return to 12. Now, some people tell you can, you have to find the zero and chart it off of it. But right now, that's a pop. That's a retrace. If we hold here and don't make a lower low, it can develop into something. But right now, that's just nothing reliable. Don't see much happening here. Now, might be worth buying 3 months, 6 months of exposure if you want protection, because it's pretty cheap right now at 12. If we get a spike back up into the 20s, it's probably going to happen. I mean, this one built for a long time. We got a little spike and retrace and a spike and a retrace, spike, retrace, spike, retrace, spike, retrace, spike, retrace, and the big spike. But then we retrace very quickly. Right back down at the bottom. Then we get another spike and a retrace. We're going to start it again. So we'll probably get another spike and a retrace and may get something going here. That $12 area seems to be the floor right now. Can it go lower? Absolutely. I think 9 was the floor back here. Yep, 9 back here. Before we had COVID and all the things. 12, historically 20 is the floor. So this is way below the historic floor. Back here. We ground it down during, short VIX instruments right there. Then Volmageddon, and then COVID. JT makes a bunch of money on this, and then we're back down here, resetting again. Now, look at the cycles, how long it is in between big spikes. Big spike, big spike, big spike. We're due for a big spike. Just saying. Just saying. Start moving those over. Start moving that over. It's about time. We're almost twice as long. Well, that was a big spike. Not really. Not a 40-50. That one only came up to 37. Didn't last very long. I mean, you could say 37. 50, 60. That's where I'm usually looking for a big spike. 50. Right at 50. 90. Yeah. We're due. We're due. It's been almost twice as long. Something's going to happen. Be careful. All right. Which one are you looking for, Wolf? That's going in the toilet. 2014 below that. EST. And I think I already looked at that, but that's probably, I mean, it can go higher, but needs a retrace right there. Roadmap line, which is back around 70. And I already did Sol USD and did our AVGO, did AMD, did SOL, and yeah, that's probably going to go down. And MEW, and that didn't pull up anything. CRWD, sitting at the resistance, probably going to get a retrace. Oh, y'all see a little gnat? I don't know where they keep coming from. I'd love to come in the studio, but there's nothing in here. Like, there's no food, there's no nothing. No idea. Anyway, look at how long that's been sitting for almost an entire month, right at that resistance. It's probably going to flush at some point. Be very, very careful. And SMCI, still looking for that to retrace. We're still below the resistance. If we can get above that, probably going up to 1400. If we don't, probably coming back down to like 400. Large downside exposure on SMCI. VRT, probably coming back down. We've kind of topped out. I'd like to see that retrace, that roadmap line arcing down a little bit, indicating some weakness, and we may see that flush down, touch it. And BA already did. Where's it going? If it can break out, cruising up here, that resistance. If we get above that, potential way up here. 640, and it's going to take a while. It could take much longer than 26. Much longer. Could go fast, but I wouldn't bet on it. I would bet on some humps and bumps and deep retraces along the way, similar to this over here. I'll probably get up here, then do another deep retrace back down to 200. Then it'll go on an epic run, probably up in the 400 or 500 area. Then do another retrace, and then go for the final pop up into that 600 area up there. That's BA for you. Netflix, grinding higher, right into the resistance. It's been the same resistance for a long time. Right there, just grinding. Can't get through that prior high. Think about it. All this other big tech making extreme higher highs. Netflix is just back there at where it was before the big drop in 2021. Be careful. If we can break out, we can go on extension, possibly up to 1,000. It's going to take some. It's going to take some people believing in Netflix a little bit to get there, but It's on the chart, but I don't know. It's going to take some effort to get there. And you know, when you look at Nvidia, when you look at Netflix compared to, I mean, look, $1 is only $400 million in the market, which is like, I mean, how many Netflixes does Nvidia move a day? That's crazy, right? To think about it like that. Netflix can literally 4x itself, and it's just at $1.2 trillion. So then it could 3x itself again. So we're talking about 12x from current levels just to get up near, Nvidia or Amazon or Apple, or well, not Amazon, but Apple or Microsoft. Just crazy. I mean, it's more than 10x, 12x, 12x. So it's just crazy to think, right? So that could easily go cruising right up to that 1,000 level and not even make a dent in this right here. Doesn't even soak up a lot of money. Now, can it do it while the others are being crazy? That's a whole different conversation. While the concentration is so tight, can Netflix even get out of this? Get out of this funk right here. Now, this was one of the original fangs, but now, I don't know. Already did now. You can pull it back and look at it. And I'm down to the bottom of the chat. So thanks for coming, everybody. Marty, thanks for the super chat. Thanks. Super chat. And I'll be back live first thing in the morning. 9:15. Right here. Going through what's moving for the day. Checking out what might be popping, what might be dropping. Going through it all and seeing where the opportunity might be for the day. So if anything I said was helpful, beneficial, give me a like on the video. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell with the notifications. If YouTube thinks you'll watch it, you'll get a notification. Otherwise, you should put it in your phone as a calendar alert if you want to make sure you don't miss it. I'll throw the link in Discord in the morning. I'll see you